Hello, and welcome to the Sunset Gratitude Summit. My name is Emily Silva Hoekstra, the author of Sunset Gratitude, and today I'm speaking with Shawn Walchef, the founder of Cali BBQ Media. He helps brands like Toast leverage the new business creator economy with smartphone storytelling. His restaurant, Cali BBQ, opened in 2008 with multiple locations in San Diego, including Snapdragon Stadium, Maker Kitchen, and the Navy Exchange. Shawn is the host of multiple digital series, including Toast's Family Style Show. His Restaurant Influencers video podcast, also sponsored by Toast, with Entrepreneur Media, has reached more than 25 million people since debuting in 2022. As a keynote speaker and industry leader, he has influenced lots of people to start creating their own content and improving their digital presence. Shawn's strategies have led Cali BBQ Media to be featured by Bloomberg, New York Times, Eater, and other local and national media outlets. I'm really looking forward to this interview and hope you find value in our time together. Let's get right into it. Hi, Shawn. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time today with me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to talk to you and hear what finding hope after trials or grief means to you. I've watched you online. We met because of Sunrise Gratitude. You were walking or running every single day. Very inspirational stuff. But you've also built kind of an empire since the time I've spoken to you. So let's start off with that. What does finding hope after trials or grief mean to you?
It's hard when you're in darkness.
Mm.
It's very hard to find hope. And I think, the reason why you and I connected was over a hashtag, and that hashtag was Sunrise Gratitude. And the hope that I found in recovery, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been in a program since 2012 dealing with my alcoholism and my addiction, but understanding that I have to take care of myself if I'm going to take care of other people.
Yeah.
Being selfish in order to be selfless. And I'm in the restaurant business, I'm in the hospitality business. I remember first going to therapy way back when I was much younger, and the therapist telling me that I was an enabler. I said, "What do you mean I'm an enabler?" And I said, "Shawn, you're an enabler. You want to fix everyone else's life. You want to fix your mom. You want to fix your brothers. You want to fix your family. You want to fix your uncles. You want to fix your business. You're fixing everybody. Who's fixing Shawn?" And it was such a weird question for me because I had never thought about it. And the analogy that my therapist gave me at the time was, when you're traveling on a plane, what is the safety instructions?
Mm-hmm.
When the oxygen mask comes down, what are you supposed to do? And at the time, I wasn't a husband, I wasn't a father. And, the therapist asked me, "What do you do if you're traveling, with a family? What are you supposed to do?" And as a man, I think the chivalrous thing is to put the oxygen mask on everyone else around me. There you go, enabling everybody else. But in order to truly find recovery and to truly find hope, I had to put the oxygen mask on myself. And to be honest with you, I'm still learning how to do that today.
Do you feel that this is a mask that men have to wear? There's books about the mask of masculinity, and you said chivalrous, enabling, saving. Is that something that you just felt that you needed to do, or did you choose that?
A little bit of both. When I went to college at the University of Colorado, I thought I wanted to study business, and I started taking some business classes. And to be honest with you, I just wasn't inspired. The first time that I drew inspiration was from sociology classes, and I started diving into masculinity and femininity and why do we act the way that we act as a society. And so much of what I started studying there, I find that I do now. I kind of do now. But to your question about where did that come from, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I never met my birth father. I was raised by my grandfather, who was a Bulgarian immigrant, and he never married my grandmother, who I consider my grandmother, but not by marriage or by birth, and she was Japanese. So my figures in my life were a Bulgarian grandfather and a Japanese grandmother living in privilege in La Jolla, California. And for those that don't know, La Jolla means the jewel in Spanish.
Mm.
Very affluent upbringing, but at the same time, those ideas of being chivalrous, of being the man, of taking care of other people around me, um, those are things that I'm still working on to this day. We're, like I said, we're in the restaurant business where our job is literally to take care of our team, to take care of our village, to take care of our community. And very rarely do we talk from a leadership standpoint of like, who's taking care of me? What am I doing? And
What are
that's
some things you're doing to take care of yourself now that you've learned that you have to put your oxygen mask on?
back to the sunrise gratitude. I think it's finding daily practices, understanding that I can't boil the ocean. I've got
Mm,
to take one bite at a time, one step at a time. And one step is a conscious commitment to, for me, understanding mind, body, and spirit. I wake up early, and that's part of my sunrise gratitude is I wake up before the sun rises. I wake up before 4 a.m. because
mm,
at 4 a.m. I can actually start to practice being conscious about the words that I'm reading, the things that I'm thinking about, the things that I'm praying about, and getting out and then actually doing something about it, getting out in nature. That is the practice for me is of sunrise gratitude is walking, walking in nature. And whether that's walking, hiking, running, doing some form of exercise. But that's me. My children, I have a small boy, he's going to turn 7 this summer. I have a small girl that's going to turn 5. And that's dad time before they wake up.
mhm.
That's husband time before my wife wakes up. And if I can do that, then I'm always a better version of myself. Because if I miss that and I don't do it 7 days a week, but sometimes if I'm traveling, even when I travel, I make this sunrise gratitude practice, even with time zones changing, because
Mm.
I know that if I don't do it, I won't be the best version of myself.
How do you find that while traveling?
Prioritizing it. I think prioritizing it and understanding that there are so many gifts around me that I'm able to see. To see a city from new eyes during the sunrise is probably the most incredible thing. Like I remember going to Vegas 2 years ago. I was speaking at a conference there, and I remember I've never seen Las Vegas during the sunrise when I wasn't
Mm,
staying up all night
yeah.
in a different chapter of my life, back to the
Hmm.
alcohol and the addiction. Like now I'm here appreciating the fact that I have an opportunity because of our business to be here with my family, but then to really appreciate Las Vegas and just, wow, this is an incredible place that's literally built in the middle of the desert, but it's peaceful. It's tranquil. It allows me to recenter and refocus, what I'm really, trying to do.
So I'm hearing a lot of mindfulness in your practices. Did mindfulness help you on your journey out of addiction?
I would say so. Asking for help. I think,
Mm,
one of the things that I speak about often is three things that my grandfather taught me, which is stay curious, get involved, ask for help. And asking for help is the hardest one of those three principles.
mhm.
Asking for help in anything, whether it's
Yeah.
mental health, whether it's addiction, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's gratitude, asking for help shows weakness. And it's not something that is talked about a lot in society, and especially, in male culture and entrepreneurship and business. It's like you're supposed to be someone that figures it all out as an entrepreneur. But the truth is, nobody's figured it all out. In fact, the greatest minds in the world lean on other minds, and they just have the courage to know that they don't need to know all the answers.
Asking for help is also pretty strong because knowing that about yourself, like I feel like there's this fork in the road, right? I'm either going to be weak and just stay here,
Yeah.
or I can choose the hard thing, which is saying I don't know. And I think as entrepreneurs, it is really easy to pretend that you know everything and just kind of fake it till you make it, which I know is part of some of it, but yeah, there's mentors everywhere. So who have been some of your mentors to, I don't know whether it's an entrepreneurship or to bring you out of your darkness and into this entrepreneurial lifestyle where you kind of have an empire now?
I think obviously number one is my grandfather. He's my source of inspiration. He asked me when I was studying abroad in Spain. I was in Alicante on this incredible program on the Mediterranean coast. It was phenomenal. But at that point, he said, Sean, he called me and I was, at the Plaza de Toros, which is the center of the city, right next to the bull ring. And it was back when I actually had to use a payphone and a calling card back in the day. And I called him and I remember him saying, Sean, I need help. I said, what do you need help with, Grandpa? He's like, I need help writing my life story. I want to write my book. And I don't have anyone around that can help me that I trust. And at that point, I decided to transfer back to the University of San Diego. So out of Colorado to University of San Diego so I could be with him to share his story. And
Wow.
for me, that's something that now, given outside of the restaurant and the media stuff that we do, we're in the storytelling business.
Hmm.
And we truly believe that because of technology, I was able to help him self-publish his own book. And it wasn't to be a Wall Street Journal or New York Times best-selling book. It was to help one boy. If one boy reads that book in the village and has the hope and inspiration to know that there is something bigger out there, that they're able to go and pursue it, then all of that work that we did is worth it.
Storytelling is so healing. I totally agree with you on this because when we tell our stories to just even if it's an audience of one, we heal ourselves, but we also shine a light for others. And you have this thing called smartphone storytelling, which is very interesting to me. Can you explain about smartphone storytelling? What does that mean?
So I use this example all the time for people that know the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. There's a line in the movie that's often quoted in business and quoted in entrepreneurship that if you build it, they will come.
Mhm.
The idea of this baseball field in the middle of nowhere, that if you build it, they will come. And a lot of business owners believe if you build it, they will come. If you write a book, they will read it. If you publish
Mhm.
music, they will listen to it. So
Mhm.
many creatives, we live in this world where it's like you need to have the courage just to do the thing. And then once you do the
Mhm.
thing, then you're done. And anybody that's listening to this that's built a business or written a book or started a podcast or done literally anything, made a painting, if you made the painting doesn't mean that they're going to hang it in the museum.
It's very true.
And once we realize that no one's coming, I think it unlocked everything for us. As a business owner in San Diego, opening in 2008 in a difficult location, in a difficult business, I thought if we made great barbecue, if we took care of our community, that the local news stations, local media, magazines, newspapers, they'd come and write about us and it would help us build a bigger business. And no one came.
Mhm.
No one came, and we decided to take matters into our own hands because we were going to fail otherwise. So we started investing in the internet, back in 2008, 2009, 2010. And that was, the first iPhone came out in 2007. And I bring that up only because we take this tool for granted. I don't need to go and make LinkedIn. I don't need to create YouTube. It's there. It's free. If you have internet access, if you have a phone, you have a 4K camera on your phone, you just have to have the courage to look stupid and sound stupid and to
Mm.
publish your truth because that's the problem. The great saying is that most people, the number one fear for humans is public speaking. People would rather be in the coffin than actually give the eulogy because they're scared of speaking in public. Well, people are scared of publishing a video on the internet because we're scared of what our friends are going to think. We're scared of what our family's going to think, what our coworkers are going to think. But ultimately, I mean, your story of you published what you believed in your heart. And from your Instagram post, all of a sudden you found a publisher for your first book. I mean,
Mhm.
that's you speaking your truth on a platform that you didn't make Instagram. You just spoke your truth on Instagram. That is smartphone storytelling. And whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's words, whether it's images, like that's the only way that everything that we do in real life, we're really good in real life at telling someone, this is what I want to build, or this is what I want to create. This is the book I want to write. It's the poem I want to publish. It's the podcast I want to do. But it's like the rubber hits the road when you hit publish on the internet. And the problem is it doesn't stop there. Like you have to have
Mhm.
the courage to keep going and to make it a little bit better every day. And if you make it a little bit better every day, all of a sudden you look back after 100 videos, 100 podcasts, you've learned a lot. You know that 25% of podcasters publish one podcast.
Really? 25%? That's a lot.
25% stop after one podcast.
Why do you think that is?
60% stop after 10 episodes. And the reason why is that people want to know what's the return on investment? What's the
Mm.
ROI of
Mhm.
doing this storytelling work?
Mhm.
And the truth is, I have a good friend that we've met in our digital hospitality community. We host weekly calls, but his name is Dean LeBay. And Dean LeBay has been joining our community, and he's just this incredible man that was paralyzed. He was able to start walking again, and now he's working at the age of 60 in the restaurant space. And he just gives so much to our community. He's just this amazing, incredible person that tells me, Shawn, the problem is not ROI, it's COI, it's the cost of inaction.
Yeah.
What is the cost of inaction, of
Mhm.
keeping the truth to yourself? Because there's 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody believes whatever you believe, someone believes the same way.
Well, and also someone has gone through what you've gone through. So
Correct.
you start this we started this interview and you're talking about your journey out of addiction, and now you're talking about storytelling, and there's been all these topics that we've talked about in this short while where someone's going to say, "Hey, that's me too."
Yep.
And I think there is a cost if we don't share because, the purpose of this next book is just to let people know you're not alone.
Yep.
Life is hard and you're not alone.
That's the truth. And that we're better together. We always say a rising
Mhm.
tide lifts all ships. And by storytelling online, by smartphone storytelling, you start to find other ships. And do you know what the difference between a ship and a boat is? Because there's
No, I
also
don't.
there's also a rising tide lifts all boats. So
No, tell me.
the difference between a ship and a boat is that a boat can fit inside of a ship. A
Mm,
ship can't fit inside of a boat. But we're looking for other leaders, other people that we connect with that have the courage to do the same, because it's not about me. Has nothing, people ask like, "Oh, Shawn, you're an influencer or you're on camera all that." I don't want to be on. I just had to do it to prove to everyone else that this is a way to grow your brand, to grow your belief, to raise money, like whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you want to connect to people, if you have a charity and you want to raise money, what better way to raise money than to speak online about the things that you believe in real life?
and also find your tribe because,
Yes.
for me, this walk of hope that I just did, and, you graciously gave us a donation for it. I wouldn't have known about this if it wasn't for Instagram. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known about this walk if it wasn't for, the website with all the meetings that they were having. And so it is so many different stories on so many different platforms. But what would you say to somebody that's like, well, what about the overconsumption? And I'm one little person in a sea of so many stories. How is that going to make a difference?
So I think the most important thing for anybody that is thinking that their story matters is to
Hmm.
understand that it does. Ultimately it does. Like who you are and your imprint on the world, it matters. And back to my grandfather's book, for him, he's one of millions of Bulgarians that were born in villages. He just had the courage to ask for help and to figure out a way to self-publish his book. And because of his book, now it's in English. Now I can read it to my children. Now it's translated into Bulgarian. It's in his village for another boy or another girl that's able to read it and to understand, like, what else are we doing if we're not passing on this knowledge? One of the things that I talk about is every single Thanksgiving, every single Christmas, we all have the opportunity to spend time, hopefully, with people that we love. As we change, as the years go by, the people and the faces at those tables change.
Mhm.
How many times do we take for granted the stories until we don't have those stories anymore? When we roll our eyes when grandpa or grandma's saying a story that they've told before, but then we come back the next Thanksgiving and that story's not there anymore. And we wish that we took that smartphone out of our pocket and we made a video and we acted like a journalist. We acted like a reporter and we did some research about the context around the story that grandma used to always tell and asked her to go deeper into that story. Then all of a sudden, we're passing on that legacy.
So did you, as a child, think you were going to be a storyteller?
No, I didn't think I'd be in restaurants. I didn't think I'd be in the storytelling business. Um, I thought I was going to be a lawyer, honestly. I thought I was going
Really?
to be a sports entertainment lawyer. I have 3 rejection letters from all 3 law schools in San Diego framed up right here in my office.
Why are they framed in your office?
That's probably the competitive nature in me. It's kind of I'll show you. I'll build my
Mm,
own law school. If I'm not good enough for you, I'll show you. And I think
hmm
that probably goes back to my dad,
hmm
not knowing my dad, me not being good enough. I mean, I remember when I first started reading books to my son when he was a little boy and looking at him and just at the miracle of having a son and just going like, how can you have an offspring in this world and not want to give them everything?
I think that story is very common now.
Yeah.
And I think you sharing that part of your life, there's going to be plenty of people that are going to say, hey, that's me too.
I was the more that I started sharing about not knowing my birth father and never meeting him and my grandfather raising me, whether it was on Facebook or writing an article on Medium or even on LinkedIn, the amount of people that reached out to me, it's overwhelming.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's back to the point of we don't think that our story matters, but it's through our story that someone else sees theirs.
Do you find storytelling to be your most important mission on this earth?
I believe that nothing's more important. It's never become more clear for me, the work that I'm doing. I mean, right now, it's focused obviously in the restaurant technology space, but I think as I evolve, as our company evolves, we'll move to much deeper, more meaningful work. Back to the work that I was doing with my grandfather in the very beginning, because I believe that it truly matters. I believe that it matters, and I know that technology has given us so many tools that before prevented people from sharing. The amount of things that you had to do before to write a book or to create a show, like, I mean, I literally just finished with my team creating a new media proposal for a legacy media company.
So, how does barbecue fit into all of this?
It doesn't. The only reason barbecue fits in is that if a barbecue restaurant can do it, anyone can do it. No one
Mm,
has any excuse. If you Google Cali BBQ and you see in Spring Valley on Google Maps where we're located, and then you see all of the work that we do with all of the brands that people know and respect, if we can do it, anyone can do it. There
mhm.
is no excuse. We have everything that we need, and we're living through the greatest time ever if we're willing to, back to what we said before, is ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I'm asking for help on a daily basis. I mean, part of the reason why I do so many shows is I get to share information of people that I really respect, really admire the work that they're doing. Selfishly, I get to learn, but anyone that consumes the podcast or watches on YouTube or sees the Instagram clip, they get the benefit of having a seat at the table.
So, do you feel that you've reached your potential?
No,
No.
no.
What's next?
Every single day, getting a little bit better.
Mm,
Nunc copi in Latin means now I begin. And the
mm,
idea is that every single day you begin again. I get to begin again and work again at improving, consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. But knowing that the version of myself next year will be much better, hopefully. But every single day I've got to start again. I've got to start again and take that humble walk and understand what we've. I think one of the most powerful things for me is using reflection to look back at where we've come, because so much of the time we're in the weeds that it's hard to look at the forest. But like, right now I'm getting ready to go to Chicago for 5 days of full content shoot. We have like 16 different brand partners that are paying us to do things that I used to do for free. Like literally we used to just do it for free to prove to them that this is something that they should be investing in. And now we have these partners. Like I literally am turning people down because we don't have any time or bandwidth to help them at this point. But I have to look back and realize, like, look how far we've come. Not only look how far we come, but look at how much further we can go.
Well, congratulations. What are you thankful for today?
I'm thankful that I get opportunities like this, that I know that I'm doing the work that I should be doing. This kind of work is important to me because you never know who's listening.
Mhm.
So many people are incredible. So many people have awesome gifts that they're waiting to share, that they're waiting to unlock. And the more that I do things like this, the more that I connect with people that no matter where they are in their life, in their journey, they're they're waiting. We say stay curious. Curiosity brings you to a podcast. Curiosity brings you to a show, brings you to a book, brings you to a conference, but it only gets you so far. You actually have to do something about it. You
Mhm.
actually got to take that curiosity and take the next step. If you're reading Sunrise Gratitude, if you're reading Sunset Gratitude, what do you do with that? How do you take that and do the work? I remember my grandfather when I was a young boy would always ask me, Shawn, do you sit in front of the class? Grandpa, no, I don't sit in front of the class. He's like, why not? Because I sit in the back because I want to be cool with all my friends are in the back. He's like, all the answers are in the front of the class. All the answers are in raising your hand. All the answers are in asking for help.
What is the name of your grandfather's book?
It's called The Harvest. And for those watching on video, it's How a Bulgarian Farm Boy Grew Wealthy in La Jolla, California by
And
Lubin
he's the
Walton.
little guy
He's
on
the
the
little
cover?
guy, and that's his grandfather. Yep.
Wow. So your great grandfather.
It's my great great grandfather. Yeah.
Great, great.
Great, great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Shawn, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing a lot of your story. I think there are many layers to you, and anyone that gets to speak to you or interviewed with you, they should feel so grateful and honored. Where can people find more about you and chat with you if they want?
Easy. I'm weirdly available for anybody that's listening to this or watching this. It's at Shawn P. Walchef, SHAWN PWALCHEF, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the platforms. But I really appreciate the opportunity, Emily. I'm a huge fan of your work. You are a true gift. I hope you keep doing more of this multi-format digital storytelling. I know what an incredible writer you are, but this was a lot of fun. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Shawn.